What is the city, what is the city's plans if we get to that point where we need to have
Yeah.
mass
Yeah.
burials?
So, death and dying in the city and in our country is a very sensitive phase in a life cycle. And so in the city, we're starting to move now into the peak, or we're on the peak already. So we're going to see two things. We're going to see more people getting infected, and we're going to see more people starting to die. And so we're standing at the moment in Maitland Cemetery, which is one of the cemeteries that we are able to bring in mass burials if needs be. But the city is very aware of the fact that at the moment we're able to cope with the current demand. So we adopt the process of digging individual graves, because we want to respect the dignity of every single person who has passed away as a result of COVID-19. And so without COVID, before COVID-19, we saw about 1,200 people being buried in cemeteries across the city, with about 300 or so opting for the cremation option. And so with the move into the peak of COVID-19, we're going to see that move up to about 5,000 deaths in 1 week, which is a large increase in number of people who are dying.
Yes.
And so we know that as a city we have to be prepared for the inevitable. We don't want to be in a situation where mortuaries and undertakers are struggling to cope with the amount of people who are dying and cope with the processing of a deceased person's body. And so we know that in this value chain of fatalities management, if we start at the very beginning, the storage and transport of body is the undertakers. We have the religious organizations that are very important in this phase of transition. And then even afterwards, after the person has been buried, there's the aftercare,
Yes.
the family, the religion, the communities that must play a role. And so at this particular facility, like at Atlantis and Klip Road and Valmont and Wallerstein,
And Durbanville also?
No, not Durbanville.
Is Durbanville not part of the city?
No. So you're talking about the picture that was going
Yes.
around in the beginning. That was at the private Durbanville Cemetery, where they are doing what we're doing at Atlantis,
Okay.
pre-digging individual graves, so that as the demand increases, we are ready to put people in as they come, so that we don't find there's not a backlog in any part of the burying process. So what we're doing at our cemeteries, the ones I've just mentioned, are the 5 key ones, are where we have 5 or more hectares that can take on 5,000 graves. So behind me, you'll see a large plot of land that can take in an additional 5,000 graves. So to Klip Road, Atlantis, Valmont, Wallerstein.
Yes.
But there's a difference here between mass burials and what the city is doing.
Okay.
In Atlantis, we're digging individual graves like they're doing at Durbanville. We're preparing them so that if the need arises, we're ready to develop a mass grave, which we don't want to do as a city because it's insensitive and it doesn't respect the dignity of people. But also even after COVID, if people want to take the family member's body out of the grave to bury in a family grave, how do you dig around to identify where to remove the person if you're in a mass grave?
Yeah,
So,
and at the end of the day, there's no closure there
exactly.
for families.
So a mass grave is a long trench, one long trench like they do in New York, where body is put next to each other and on top of each other, they pack. We don't want to do that in the city. So it's important for me to say that.
Yes.
And so for us to avoid that, we are making sure that all of our cemeteries, we've got 40 cemeteries, can cope with a COVID burial. On any one of our cemeteries can cope with a COVID burial. In Atlantis, when the work started there, the community was very anxious that we were going to bring all the COVID bodies there. But of the 40, we've got 17 cemeteries that are active. Everyone can take a COVID body.
Yes.